Hello humans and extraterrestrials. So today I'm going to be telling you about my May reading wrap up, so you get to know what books I read, what books I'm still reading, what books I DNF'd, and what books I bought. Firstly, this is like the 7th time I've tried to film this video because my brother was being an interruption last time, but we're gonna try and get through. I don't know why I keep doing that. We're gonna try and get through it. So I'm first going to go through all the books I read. I read 7 books this month. Go me. That's pretty damn good as far as I'm concerned, considering I usually only read like 4. That's like, I'm taking that as a win. So, the first book I read this month was A Work in Progress by Connor Franta. This book for me was like a 3-star, 3.5 star, which is because I had some mixed feelings, because Connor Franta, if you don't know, is a YouTuber. He has been on YouTube for a long ass while. He's like, I wouldn't say he's like an OG, but like he's been on there for a good load of years. And this book came out in 2015, so he was 22 when this book was released, which means that it's a bit cringy to read, because firstly he was just a 22-year-old, and 22-year-olds don't know anywhere near as much as they think they do, and also because I know of Connor as a human now, and it's really quite cringe to read and be like, oh dear, you've got so much to learn, you're just putting on such a face, hun. And that's but I do love Connor, which is why it was a 3, because even though like there's certain stuff that's fantastic, there's also certain stuff that's very, and it was like nice to see like cute baby pictures and stuff, but like also he's changed so much, and that was a bittersweet moment for me, firstly as a human, because I've been following him since his book came out. And also I just like, when you watch those videos now and when you read stuff like this now, you realize how much of a face these people were putting up, and like how much more comfortable he is on the camera now, even though he's been doing it for years by then. But yeah, I think 3.5 stars. Like, this is a memoir, in case you're somehow unaware. And I also need to point out that in the last video I mentioned this book, I called these Dutch doors. I'm pretty sure Dutch doors are like drama, as a drama term. A Dutch door, they're like they're like a drama camp, like a light thing. They're similar to like barn doors, if I remember. Dutch are the 4, I think. I could be completely wrong, but these are French flaps, not Dutch doors, and they're gorgeous, but I misnamed them, so there you go. There's some vindication for you. So yeah, 3.5 stars. This is a memoir. There's lots of nice little things and like stuff about childhood, but there's also, he's grown so much. He has grown so much as a person, and I am so proud of him for it, but I don't think I'm ever going to read this book again because it makes me feel weird. I don't know. The second book, I had a kind of a little bit of a slump this month. It wasn't, or last month I guess. It wasn't anything huge. Like, I had a little bit of a slump, so, and I was struggling. I was in the middle of lots of books, and I was kind of like, I wanted to finish them, but also I felt really frustrated because I couldn't. So I took a break from that, and I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. This is one of the books. This is the second book in the Narnia series, if you're unaware. The only one I've ever read, probably the only one I ever will read. And I had not read this up until then. This was up until then. This was a gift I got from a family friend. When I was like 10. It was like a 10th birthday present, I think. And I've never ended up reading it, and it's so lovely. This book, I think I gave 4 stars. It was just so lovely. And there's also, I'm gonna read you the not the forward, the like the dedication in the front. There's a little mini letter in it, and it really made me tear up, if I remember rightly, because it's so sweet and just beautiful, which was to Lucy Barfield. My dear Lucy, I wrote this story for you, but when I began it, I had not realised that girls grow quicker than books. As a result, you are already far too old for fairy tales. And by the time it is printed and bound, you will be older still. But someday you will be old enough to start reading fairy tales again. You can then take it down from some upper shelf, dust it off, and tell me what you think of it. I shall probably be too deaf to hear and too old to understand a word you say, but I shall still be your affectionate godfather. And that's just, firstly, that's so lovely, but also this story is so delightful. Like, I remember I loved the film as a child, and that's, I think, why he gifted me the book, other than just being like, hey, Summer, you're a child. This was a book I liked as a child. Here is a book. But I also loved the movie as a child. I feel like watching it back, I'd probably make the CGI probably make me cringe, but this story was wonderful. It was truly wonderful, and like Edmund's a dick. I'm not afraid. Edmund's a dick in this story, but like the story's wonderful, and Lucy's wonderfulness is wonderful. And the thing is, because it's a children's book, it's short. And my only thing was, and this is just because of who I am, we never saw Tumnus enough as far as I'm concerned. We should have seen him every 3 seconds. He was the best character in the whole damn book. Loved them. But yeah, this was fantastic because of course it was. And I needed this. This is what I needed at the time. So it was fantastic. But 4 stars because, you know, certain level of depth. But it was just, I did love this. The next book that I read, flipping finally, was Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, which is the last book in the Infernal Devices trilogy. I am planning on making a book talk of all 3 of these. Let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be interested in. I've been planning it out, and I don't know if I want to do like a formal step-by-step or kind of just like a book talk rant thing where I kind of just like this thing and this thing and this thing. But I read this and I thought it was fantastic. This is 5 stars. I love this series so much. I love Cassandra Clare's world, and I just love the whole Shadowhunters series, Chronicles, and I love the way she writes character, and I think she's just so, her wit in these books, like the character's wit, there's always like I don't want to say it's always a Herondale, but like Will and Jason, all of them, I love those characters. Although saying that, it is more so Alec being witty in some of those books. I don't know, but it's been such a long time since I read the first ones. But this is damn good, okay? This is damn good. And the characters were fantastic, and I'm a bit out of practice. The characters are fantastic, and the writing's fantastic, and the plot points just surprised me. There's not a lot I can say about the 3rd book in a trilogy. It closed everything off really well, and the prologue of this book on its own made me cry. The prologue in this book, I don't want to spoil anything because spoilers, but there's a thing that happens in the end in relation to some characters that I never thought would have a relationship that they did. I never thought that was gonna return, and then it did, and it was like, oh, hell yeah. And can we also just appreciate Magnus Bane? Magnus Bane is the best damn character in all of these books, and I know people were disappointed by the Bane Chronicles, but he's a damn good side character, and you can fight me on it. I love him so much. Like his sassiness in all these books there's a scene in which he catches someone doing something, that we're gonna leave it there, and his response to it is so very funny. But yes, this was fantastic, and so was the whole series, and I'm so excited to talk to you guys about them. So yes, I'm grabbing it so tightly because I love it so much. The 4th book I read this month was Pride and Prejudice. Finally, I got down and finished it. I gave this, I think, 3 stars. I like classic novels. I do. But the thing is, I need to kind of be in the mood for them, and I think as well is the fact that I had to read this for class. I didn't have to. This is part of my dissertation, which meant that I felt like I was doing work whenever I read it, so that probably lowered my enjoyment of it. Like, if I was reading this in my free time and I had no plans to ever write about it, I'm sure I would bump it up to 4, but just by the fact that I have to write about it, and analyze it, made my brain go, hey, no, this is work, bad. So 3 stars. I enjoyed the characters and I enjoyed the writing, but because my brain has been very tired due to everything, everything going on. It was kind of a lot to read any sort of classic novels. So this has been like a bit of effort for me, but I did overall enjoy it, and I'm excited to incorporate it into my work. Even if, like, you know, it was stressful. I like Mr. Darcy as a character. I know everyone hates him, and I don't know. Like, it's a very, like, I feel like it's people either love or hate Darcy. I really liked him. I thought he was sweet. I understand at first you're like, oh my god, look at this evil guy. But he grew on me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just really easy to please when it comes to fictional men, but like, I got it. You know what? I got it. All I can say. That's all I can say. The thing about this book to me, I'm ranting now, is that it wasn't, like, while I was reading it, I was like, this is a great time, but it's really not memorable to me. I don't think, like, unless I'm actively talking about it, it will never pop into my head. Unless it's like about my work and I'm like, oh, I could write about this thing, but like, it's not, you know, like, I will never be thinking about this book because my brain decided that I liked this book enough to think about it, or that it was memorable, because it isn't, as far as I'm concerned. And I know people who love Jane Austen will be attacking me in the comments. I'm really sorry. I understand why you love her, and if this is the only book of hers I've read, I'm sure I'd love some of the others. Please don't hurt me in the comments. I'm reading this for school, so it softens the joy of these books. But yes, 3 stars. Okay. Okay, so the next book, sorry, I just had a mini, like, can I count? Yes, I did read 7 books. Okay, so the next book I read this month was The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan from the Heroes of Olympus series. I did a vlog on this, my experience reading this book, which is up there. I think if they're still doing that, I know they've changed some stuff. They like took away polls, which is sad because I never ended up using them. But yes, I read this. I gave this 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. Again, there's a very detailed description of what I felt about this book over there, but I did really enjoy it. I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic. I loved all the characters. Leo did my nut in sometimes, because he was a juxtaposition of 2 things I really loved, or one thing I loved and one thing I hated, which was like the whole, oh, he has a like hidden, I don't know, I don't want to say like soft boy, but like he has like a Will Herondale vibe where he's like, he's tortured sad boy, and then also like he's ridiculously attracted to women. Like, I get it, sir. I understand. I'm on your side with this. I'm in love with every woman I meet, but pump the brakes a little bit when you're talking about it. But yeah, I am excited for the series to continue and for certain relationships to ensue, because I know some stuff that happens in these books that I don't want to spoil for anyone that's unaware. But there's 2 characters that I'm very excited to become romantically entangled. Like, gotta love Uncle Rick for his gay rep. Anyway, yes, I love this, and Leo annoyed me, but other than that, and like, I found Jason like a little bit, I was like, what's your thing? But as we got through it, I was like, okay, I see your thing. And I'm just excited to continue it. So yes, fantastic. The next book I read, firstly, a very weird flex for me in my reading life, because I don't tend to read a lot of contemporaries or like women's lit, which I hate. I hate that that's what it's called, like chick lit or women's literature. Is The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. There's a reason there's a bookmark in it, is because my mum's currently reading it, but I stole the book so I could show you the physical book. This is a story. I realize I've not explained the plot of like any of the books I've shown you so far, but this is about a girl called Tiffy and a boy named Leon. Well, a woman called Tiffy and a man named Leon, who need arrangements for a flat, or begin living together in a situation where Leon is doing night shift. He is a nurse and he does night shift, and Tiffy works a normal like 9 to 5 day job where she works at a publishing company, and they basically are like, hey, I need cheap rent in London. If we both pay $350 a month, we can share a bed in a room and a flat, but we never have to see each other because of the job situation. And that's the premise of this. And obviously romance ensues, etc. And there's trigger warning, there is descriptions of past emotional abuse in this book, because Tiffy has an ex and some stuff goes down. Nothing like graphic or anything, but there's discussion and stuff, and it's like, she's overcoming all of that, obviously. So if that's something that triggers you, I would either not read it at all or tread carefully. But it is dealt with, as far as I'm concerned, I believe it's dealt with incredibly well, and I will get confirmation. I know someone who's reading this who has this experience, so I will ask them and be like, and everyone I've heard that's read this and has experience is like, hey, this is good rep. So I believe it's dealt with well. And I felt that it was dealt with incredible respect. But this book was fantastic. I don't tend to read these sort of books. These books are not my thing at all. I love like YA fantasy or like adult fantasy. I like fantasy and sci-fi books. Contemporary books, I don't read a lot of them. And if I do, they tend to be hard-hitting contemporary, like The Hate U Give, for example. Or I guess Radio Silence is hard-hitting contemporary? Does it count? I don't know. But like, usually I can't just read like a boring contemporary book that has no ulterior motives. Like, you know, Radio Silence has a point to prove and it does it well, but like, I don't tend to read stuff like this. But I guess this does have a motive and like talks about emotional abuse. But this was fantastic, and the romance, I really struggle, and I don't know how to explain this without sounding prejudiced. I struggle with straight romance reading it because I have seen it in every single movie or book or show that has ever existed, and I struggle to find anything new or interesting in it that isn't, I don't know. But like, it was dealt with, it was like new and fresh and wonderful in this book, and there was talk of consent. I have never seen well-known media that talks a lot about consent in that's not an experience I have when I'm reading that sort of stuff. Even in like queer lit, like that doesn't happen, and it did in this book. And there was like lots of like, is this okay? And I'm like, this is great. Like this was just very good. Okay. I need to learn how to speak normally, but yes, this was very good. And the last book I read this month is technically a poetry collection, which is Soft Magic by Upil Chisala. I think that's how you say her name. I'm so very sorry if I'm incorrect. This is a poetry collection by a black woman about, it's in like there's like little sections, but it's basically about loving blackness and loving your own black body, which obviously does not apply to me, but I thought it was fantastically written. There's stuff about mental health, there's stuff about relationships and healthy relationships and all sorts of stuff, and it's just beautiful. I saw 5 stars, by the way, in case anyone was somehow unaware. There's lots of short poetry. There's lots of little ones that's like 1 line or 2 line. There was one I saw, I'll see if I can find it. I hope we do to do with words what dancers do with limbs. Damn, but yes, this is 5 stars, and it was fantastic, and the writing was beautiful. I saw Cece from Problems of a Book Nerd talking about this a while ago, and I just heard her talking about it, and the amount of joy and love she had talking about it just made me want it very badly, and it was fantastic. It's not very big. There's not a lot. There's lots of like little 1 lines and stuff. And also, as soon as I got to the end, like I was reading this poetry, I think I read this in one sitting, I just went through it and was like, oh my god, this is all so gorgeous. Remember, there is love here, in you, waiting to be stirred and seasoned and served. And then I looked at the back and I was like, oh my god, not only is she a beautiful writer, she's a beautiful person. Isn't she gorgeous? Damn. Like, damn. Anyway, this was fantastic. Like, this was fantastic. I loved this so much. I also bought this month. This was a book that I hauled this month. So it arrived a few days ago and I immediately just read all the way through it, and that's where we're at. So that is all the books I read this month. I also bought one other book, and that was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is a book that I have wanted to read. I've wanted to read this for a very long time, and then a teacher I have that talked, he is a teacher, but I don't have him for a class. He helps with a club I do in school, and he is an English teacher, and he recommended this book to me, and I'm just so excited about it. But I wanted to read it for a while anyway. But basically, this is a book about the Greek myths of Achilles and Patroclus, from a romantic perspective, if I remember rightly. Yeah. Greece in the Age of Heroes. Patroclus, an awkward young prince, has been exiled in the court of King Peleus and his perfect son Achilles. Despite their differences, the boys develop a tender friendship, a bond which blossoms into something deeper as they grow into young men. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about this. I've heard so many good things about this book, and I know some people don't like it. I'm just so damn excited. Because, like, Greek mythology is my jam. Clearly, I was just talking about, like, firstly, I am gay, and secondly, I was just talking about Here's Olympus. But, like, this is just so exciting to me. I bet, like, I'm predicting that I'm gonna love this. Okay. Yes, there. I'm very excited about this. And the books that I'm currently reading. I'm currently reading, I think, 6 books, if I can count. Yes, 6 books. I'm listening to 2 audiobooks. So I am still listening to Becoming by Michelle Obama. I've gotten through a few hours of it this month. I'm really upset about lockdown for lots of reasons, but one of them is that I used to listen to audiobooks on my commute, like on to and from school and on any buses I was ever on. Obviously right now, I'm not on any buses, so I'm not listening to music or to audiobooks as much, which is a shame because I want to listen to Michelle Obama's voice and her wonderful book more often, but I don't really have chances to because I can't just sit and listen to it. Like, my brain does not work that way. I need to be doing something menial or be on a bus or something while I am listening to it. Because I feel like when I'm at home, and this is because I'm having an unhealthy mindset apparently, but I feel like I can't just sit and listen to it because for some reason sitting and reading a book is fine, but sitting and listening to one is a waste of time. Why is that? My brain's insane. The other one is The Apprentice Witch by some author I don't remember. I started listening to this. It's a middle grade like witch fantasy thing that I listened to like literally a chapter and a half of because I was struggling to sleep, and I'd been listening to ASMR and it wasn't helping, and I was like, you know what, someone telling you a story to sleep is great. So I found an audiobook and was like, this is mind numbing, I can do this, and now I want to keep reading it. It's about a girl whose name leaves me, who's basically going to like a witch school. Like, it's very, very young, it's very like I'm 12, but it's lovely, and it's little, and it, like, I've been reading it as I've been going to sleep, so the story is very fuzzy in my head, but I know she's like gonna go and do some test where I am. But I'm enjoying it. The next book I'm reading is I picked up The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman. I am literally like I'm like 60 pages away from finishing it, so it'll be so I'm gonna finish it soon, but I'm really enjoying it. I can't tell you much more than that because, you know, whatever. But yes, I am still reading this, which is the second book in the His Dark Materials series by Philip Pullman. It is I guess it goes from middle grade to, I guess I would consider it YA, even though it's about children, but like, it feels like it should be read by more than, I don't know. It's just good. It's a good fantasy series. And there's lots of like in different universe and kind of it's that sort of stuff. It's dope is what it is. So yeah, the next book I'm also reading this month is The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. This is the classic, like the first ever alien invasion story. It's like a start in, well, not a start in sci-fi, but it like is like an early sci-fi book, and it's like the classic alien invasion story, and I am just very excited about it. I've literally read like two chapters. Read 2 chapters, and I've not even got to where the alien's happening yet, but I'm just excited about it. So yeah, I am also reading Little Women by Louisa May Alcott for my dissertation. Again, reading it for my dissertation, because, you know, I need to read it for that. But also I'm really enjoying it, and I'm reading it for fun. I'm getting through it slowly but surely, because it's one of those books that I never think to pick up. I don't know. If you're somehow unaware, Little Women is about 4 girls, the March sisters, Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy, who basically it tells their like story of like, it's like a story of womanhood and like all of that. It's known as like classic I don't know, I'm saying like this is so not comfortable. Classic feminist literature, and it's just, I'm really enjoying it so far, and it's very lovely. It has very thin pages though, so I'm sitting there like, because it's looks thinner because the pages are very thin in this edition, but I wanted it because I don't like reading hardbacks. But yes, this. And the last book, if I can, oh no, not the last book, the next book I'm reading, I'm also reading another children's book because reasons. This is Danny the Champion of the World by Roald Dahl. This really is a kid's book. I started reading this to someone. I love my brother dearly, truly. I truly love him so much. But he is a fan of coming into my room and being like, I'm bored. And I'm like, do you want me to read you a story? So I started reading this to him. I read him like 2 chapters. And then I was like, you know what? I realised I've never actually read this all the way through. So I just started actually reading it. And it's delightful so far. It's lovely. And the last book that I am still, and also if you're unaware, Danny the Champion of the World is the story of a boy called Danny, and his father, who live in a caravan. Yeah, in a caravan. And Danny thinks he knows everything about his father until he finds out that he poaches. And his tricks for poaching are very weird. Like, instead of like shooting, he's like, no, that everyone finds out if you shoot them, you give them raisins because they love raisins. And it's like, this is very strange, but I love it. So yes, Roald Dahl has a very weird and wonderful way of describing things and interesting children's things, and this is just, I also have a far older copy of this book. I have like my mum's old copy, but I don't want to read through it because I don't want to break it even more. But yeah, this is the copy that I'm actually reading. And the last book that I am still reading this month is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. This is a book that I keep forgetting I have, but I have been reading it on the off chance I've been like around people, but I've had nothing to say, you know, like, because now in the UK, in Scotland, I don't know if it's in all the UK, but in Scotland certainly, people are allowed to have people from one other household at a time meet, as long as they're still keeping with social distancing restrictions. I've had family members over, and we've been sitting in the warm, and it's like, it's really nice to be around you, and I'm glad you're talking, and I love seeing you, but also like nothing is happening, so what can I say? So when my mum and gran are having like intense conversation about family and about like boycotting a company because they tried to scam or whatever else, and then like I'll just be like, I'll read some Harry Potter while they're doing that. So yes, I would try and show you my, you know what we're gonna try and do. I'm not gonna do my still reading pile, I'm gonna give you my read pile. This is a very long wrap up. I'm so sorry about this. It's been very rambly because life's a bit rambly at the moment, and that's where we are. But let's see if I can do this. That should not be there. Woo. So yes, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, you know what to do. I think I'm gonna do a video on this, that I learn how to talk somewhere. That would be a good idea. I mentioned in a previous video that I am going to be taking part in the Feel Good-a-thon, and I am going to be vlogging that, so be on the eye out for that. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, you know what to do. Please remember to drink your water, eat your vegetables, and peace out, I guess.